Those on this don't know the like you can't decorate. This world is wrong to be. Let them make something with your words have no bearing over me. Because my mind was no reservation thought. Yes. So let's just stay the fuck away. Say it with me. Say it with me. Scream it with me. Want others to do as you do and not as they should for themselves, oppressing your own cognitive function, eliminating conversations or checks we're growing and awakening because of your own weak.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Oh, fine, Dave. I don't know.
And Craig.
Guilty.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, guilty pleasures. Hit us up on Instagram at OWP2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything we talk about is inspired by the WWE Network. So do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. I just realized when I said guilty pleasures, that got a little weird. Please save me and tell me what we're talking about, guys.
Are we talking about wrestling?
I hope so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I might have went a different direction.
That's terrible.
This is kind of like underrated wrestlers. It's really like our guilty pleasures, like whether the wrestler wasn't popular or nobody talks about them now or
Didn't get over.
or didn't get over. And some people are like, really, you like that person? Like, this is a guilty pleasure where I'm like, yeah, I kind of did like that person. I like them. And I'm going to come out of the closet now and say, I like them. So I'm going to do that on this episode.
I like it.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you have to add on that, bud?
Yeah, it's very much like underrated, but it's also those that like you would watch, and even if they were pushed or were kind of popular, it still wasn't popular for you to say, I really like watching this wrestler. It's you almost feel guilty and a bit of shame for admitting how much you like them out of ridicule. So it's a combination of underrated plus I don't care what people think. I enjoy them and I'm sticking with my opinion.
I really like Marty Jannetty as the Michelin Man. What? Oh.
Right.
That's not an example, is it? Oh, my bad. All right, Jess, who's kicking off first? You want me to run this?
Hey, how's this working, Jess? Jess, how's this working, Jess?
All right, so we're going to go around the table here. We're going to pick 2 singles wrestlers and 1 tag team. I think that's pretty fair. And we don't know who each other has
I didn't know that
picked.
was the rules.
Stop. My wife's gonna come out. Shut up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's what we'll go around the table. We'll do 2 singles and 1 tag. Maybe we'll mix it up. We'll do a singles tag singles. How about that? To throw it in there, and we'll go around. And I'm gonna have to call on Craig to go first. I have a feeling. Who's your singles guilty pleasure?
Okay, this guy was pushed. This guy main evented WrestleMania. But I don't think this guy gets the respect that he deserves. And you don't think of this when you think of either Mount Rushmore or a guy that is in the top, 100. But every time I saw him, I loved his gimmick. I thought he worked very hard. I thought he was a fantastic worker. I thought he inspired others kind of beyond his years. I'm talking about Bam Bam Bigelow. I always enjoyed.
I completely thought that you were going a different direction, by the way.
Really? Who did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say Miz.
Oh, wow.
Because that description fits him exactly. Like where after that Daniel Bryan promo a couple years ago, he kind of garnered some kind of like hardcore fan support because he was shooting. But like for the most part, people are like, fuck the Miz. Like, no, it sucks.
Yeah,
but,
that's very true.
I thought you were going to say the Miz. But Bam Bam Bigelow is a great choice because I feel he's very underappreciated as far as history is concerned.
It is an interesting guilty pleasure because, he went all over the place. He hit every major federation and he toured everywhere and probably never got his due when it comes to a title run in any way, shape, or form. He was definitely built to feed the title holder, especially in WWF. that happened. But Bam Bam Bigelow is really good.
Champ setting him up. Look out. Big splash.
And not even Rick Rude can stand up to anything like that. What a match this is, Gorilla.
Oh, look at this power display by Bam Bam. If the Ravishing One doesn't make a tag, he's gone.
Really good. I don't know how else to say it. Like Bam Bam Bigelow for a big man. You know, Vader came up quick and kind of outshined him for a moment, but Bam Bam was doing things that no other big man was doing until Vader hit the scene. And even at that point, Vader might not have had the ability to work as well as Bam Bam did. Bam Bam could take care of people.
Vader was just a monster. They were a team together in Japan too. Vader.
Yeah, that's just horrifying.
Imagine having to wrestle those guys on the card. Bam Bam Vader.
Like, I'll see you later. Is what I said.
It'd be one of those things where I'm like checking the sheet of who I want to wrestle, and I'd be like, fuck, I forgot I left the stove on.
Oh, that's not gonna fucking work for me. Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. Yeah, my horse is sick, is what some people would say.
Yeah, I mean, you watch shoot interviews with Bam Bam. He never was about he never argued backstage or tried to politic. You pay him and you do the job. You just got to respect him and pay him the right amount and do what you say you're going to do. And he was trusted to main event WrestleMania and work with Lawrence Taylor and pulled that off actually and let a football player kind of pin him.
You can argue he was the ring general for that match too. He was the guy that put it all together.
I think I always liked you said too, didn't play politics, I think is probably like the best way, because he didn't, whether it was the Click era or even before that. Like he was getting a lot of attention in 87 and 88. And then I don't remember if he chose not to resign or something happened, but he was hot as shit, especially that Survivor Series match in 87 when he was on Hogan's team. The crowd was arguably louder for him than even Hogan. When Hogan would get in there, the place would go nuts, but people were on fire when Bigelow would tag in. And he was just like the next thing that people seemed they were going to gravitate towards. And then like 4 months later, nothing. Like he just kind of disappeared and went away. So I think Craig's right. I think he just didn't play politics. He wasn't about that. And he was just like, oh, I'm not going to do this shit. I'm going to show up. If you want to use me, you can hear the people. Use me. If not, like I got to go. I'm not going to ride with Vince or call Vince every day or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever the politic game was that you had to do to kind of show that you were a team player. I think Bigelow was like, fuck that shit.
He wasn't going to say, hey, brother. I'm going to talk to you.
hey, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
No,
that was a terrible Bigelow. I don't know if that was a Bigelow impression. I don't know what that was. Someone save me.
Like?
Stop it.
Somebody hit the audio.
He's passed away, Dave. I don't remember what he sounds like. Okay.
That's terrible.
So, God, should I go or Dave, or do you want to go? What are we going to...
I get to pick. Okay.
Yes. Even better.
I pick Jess.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay. Mark Merrill.
Oh,
wow.
Interesting.
Look, he was silly and gimmicky in like 91, 92 when he started the Johnny B. Bad thing. And he, to me, for whatever odd reason, in like 93, 94, started working really hard, and I really would notice him getting better in the ring. And I actually liked Johnny B. Bad. And then when he went to WWF, I was kind of excited because he went as Mark Merrow, and then his wife ended up outshining him, and he brought a lot of injuries with him. He was injured often, and I think that really hindered his stint in WWF. Was you had a wife that ended up being hotter than you, and then injuries started piling up, and I think he couldn't keep up with the pace. And when the Attitude Era took off, I don't think he didn't have the edge, but he was really an improved wrestler in WCW towards the end. There's a particular match he had in Fall Brawl of 95 against Brian Pillman. I recommend that to anybody. That was a fantastic match, and it showed how much he had come along. I swear, all throughout the year of 1994, Johnny B. Bad opened every WCW pay-per-view.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And
Which
whether it was with Regal, Honky,
anybody
DDP.
To your point, that says you're going to open it up, you're going to blast us off on this pay-per-view. That's a big deal.
I think that's a big responsibility. And if you do it right, you're talented. Like the curtain jerker is not anything to be taken lightly. You have to do your part on the card.
It sets the tone.
Lost nowadays, you know. They'll open up a pay-per-view and be like, the opening contest is a Hell in the Cell. Like nowadays, and I'm like, why? Why are you fucking opening the pay-per-view with Hell in the Cell?
Maybe you should end with that.
Yeah.
I'll take Johnny B. Bad's, crappy fireworks. I'm bad, baby.
So that's
Dempsey with a left hand. Shut him out, brother. 1, 2. This one got it. Whoa. Wow, that was awesome. That was. He earned this one, fans. Johnny B. Bad gets a win on Saturday night. He earned it. Kimberly the Diamond Dog.
So that's and he gets a bad rap now. A lot of people on podcasts I listen to are like, "Oh, you mean like Johnny B. Bad?" Like that kind of like
what's
joke.
wrong with
and I'm
that?
like, there's nothing. Like, Mark Romero was actually a very talented performer, and you would see him progress and introduce new moves, whether it was like that jump over the top rope, twisting into the leg drop, or he did the was it the 450 splash he tried off the top or something? Like he did a lot of things. He was just trying new things. Like every time
I just laughed because I can't remember who said it, but they would imitate Dusty and go, "Don't worry, baby, we got this Little Richard lookalike. This is gonna be
yeah." And Dusty gave him a start.
Yeah, Dusty was the guy. He was.
So my guilty pleasure is Mark Romero / Johnny B. Bad. I enjoyed him.
It's a good choice. I mean, he had a great body, had great moves. He was brave enough to wear kind of makeup, but I think he was a legit tough guy in boxer in his past too, and the only thing is to Jess's point about he opened every pay-per-view for about 16 months. He would fire that stupid gun, and then for the next 3 hours, everyone would have confetti stuck on their sweaty backs.
Gun. Oh man, can I pick somebody else?
So it would stay the entire rest of the card. Anyone who went outside,
and anybody who got you outside would come up with their back lit up like a Christmas tree. Like it's like, damn it.
Goddamn Johnny.
Joe would always say,
Johnny.
Fucking Johnny B. Bad. Fucking Johnny B. Bad.
That's a good choice, though.
I'll never get mad at Johnny B. Bad.
So that's my pick. David. Nope.
Well,
all right.
This was. I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna top what you guys got, but I'll kick it off anyway. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna change it up here. Actually, How about? I can't top it unless I change it up a little bit. How about we go with Disco Inferno?
Okay.
The Disco Inferno. We talked about this over and over. People were like, "Oh, Disco Inferno gimmick. It's so bad. Oh, it's so lame." Disco Inferno, man, was a total guilty pleasure because when that guy got in the ring, that boy could work, man. He was really good in there. Definitely knew his craft. Built, kind of constrained within the realm of his gimmick, but he totally committed to the gimmick of Disco Inferno, first of all, and he got it over a period of time. But I still say it's a guilty pleasure because I don't think he ever took it to the heights that he thought it was capable of. But a Disco Inferno match is always entertaining to watch. You will watch it. Oh, it's Disco. I'll watch Disco. Even though Disco was people are like, oh, it's a joke. Disco Inferno is a fucking joke. No, not really. Disco was really, really good and really talented. And you will stop and go, I'm not fast forwarding that on the network. I'll watch that match with Disco Inferno. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's kind of
it was very gimmicky, and I think ultimately that held him back. But Disco Inferno I've used the phrase often, is a very good professional wrestler. And really if you watch him in there and his movements are good, he takes care of his opponent and he feeds them, which is really important. He knows how to feed not just their comebacks, but he knows the moves that somebody that's taking a move needs to do to make it easier on the guy doing the offensive, if that makes any sense, because he just knows what to do. He leans in when he has to lead in. He walks towards the opponent.
Go with it, Jess.
Yeah, as he's selling, he's doing certain movements to get in position without looking obvious. We see a lot of wrestlers now when they get knocked down, they obviously scoot in position. Like Disco had the art form of like he would sell, but he would be getting in position as he's selling. So
he knew where the spot needed to be.
Yeah, you wouldn't notice that he's getting in position. He wouldn't scoot, obviously, in position. He would sell and roll and sell and then get in position where somebody
the ultimate scooting into position is Honky versus Ultimate Warrior. Like it's the ultimate scooting. Go back and watch it.
Look,
like Honky had to scoot to where Warrior was gonna be and like make it work.
I've never been a professional wrestler. I cannot even begin.
Right.
What these guys do is great, but I cannot stand it. When I watch a wrestler obviously look up and scoot in a position, it bothers me so much. Or like they sell and then they look and they're like, oh, and they walk right over to the wrestler and feed him. It's like, oh, come on. Like, God, guys, like you got to help me suspend disbelief here. But Disco to me was the opposite of that. Like he was really good in the ring. He truly was. I'm annoyed at his podcast. I think he's annoying as shit, but that's probably the point. But
I've never heard his podcast. I did not know he had a podcast.
I did not know he had
why
one.
you haven't, because he does it with Conan. That's why you haven't.
Oh God!
There's your
gosh.
problem. Hey,
But
that's
I will
one person
say-
that's someone that won't be on my guilty pleasures list. Bye,
No.
Conan.
And it's funny that he came after Mark Mero, Johnny B. Bad, because it's very similar. Like there was a great theme song. They trusted him enough. He wore bell bottoms. He kind of got the kids going with his like funky dance. They even put a little disco ball in the ceiling for him to like bounce light off at one point. So he kind of opened and let off nitros and things and got kind of a push. And then really kind of towards the end, his matches became better and he became a bit more serious and challenge for things. So at least he got a little bit of a kind of glory towards the end. But I think it's a good choice. He was that middle ground of a curtain jerker, crowd cheerer, a little gimmicky, but he did the job well. But he's not one that everyone said, man, Disco's great together in a room on a Monday night.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like, oh, no,
Yeah.
you're like Disco's good, but
Or I'm
nobody
going to go.
agrees.
Yeah, WCW's in town to see Disco. Absolutely, of course. I'm gonna
Yeah.
see Disco. That's right. That's what I do.
Is
So,
that a Disco
Dave,
Inferno shirt?
You went last, Dave. Now we're going to go to tag team. Who are you going to pick on to do their tag team guilty?
I get to
pleasure?
roll through. I get the snake, as they say, and fantasy football picks. I'm at the end of the snake and the beginning of the snake. All right, you guys. I don't even care. These are my guys. The ultimate guilty pleasure.
Jesus.
You guys already know who it is. I talk about it all the time. I think this
PNG.
finisher could have been the best finisher of a tag team. At that time and probably even now.
By the way, not
if
to
they
cut
have
you
the time
off,
of it.
but for
Yeah.
historic purposes, I'm already typing it in because I know exactly who it is.
I already know exactly what it is. But the backdrop into a suplex simultaneously was, in my opinion, was like, this is really fucking cool. I don't even care if they're heels. I don't care if they're gonna get beat at every pay-per-view. Power and Glory is my tag team. Like I was so in. I was like, these guys are awesome.
I only dispute that choice because I think that they have a bigger groundswell. Like there's a thing online now that people, every time they see Power and Glory, they're like, fucking awesome. What the
Well,
fuck?
they can
Like,
thank
yeah.
me for that because
Yeah.
I've been touting
You
the
have
Power and
been
Glory
for years. Yeah.
for years. These guys were amazing. So amazing to the point of where, Paul Roma was just a guy. He was coming up. They were testing him out to see if he was going to be any good. Hercules Hernandez was already kind of on the mid-card train. Honestly, probably on top in those lower federations before they pulled him up into WWF. Hercules Hernandez was the top guy. So you're kind of in the land of the giants, but you're not so giant anymore. And they're like, well, let's see if we can pull you into a tag team faction. And they had Slick management. It was hilarious. And the work that they did in there was so good. They naturally got over. And when they naturally got over in a tag team in the WWF in the late 80s, early 90s, what happened? They killed it. And that's why they naturally got over. People started to enjoy them. To Jess's point, Power and Glory was the shit. There's deep underground for Power and Glory, but because that's not how it worked in WWF at the time, you didn't naturally get over like you could today, that they were basically dismantled. And that was the end of Power and Glory. But there was something really special there, and I will always hold a spot in my heart for P&G, bro. They were bad.
Suplex from the top and also from the top. Roma crushing down from the far side.
That was impressive.
That was Power and Glory combined. Ooh, my. Here are your...
Bro, they were badass.
My favorite match and most memorable one of theirs is the opening match against the Rockers of SummerSlam 90.
So good.
Shawn Michaels legitimately had a knee injury, so they hit him with the chain. Hercules hit him with the chain as he was coming down to the ring, which effectively put Michaels out. So Jannetty had to fight the whole match. And the crowd, it was a Philadelphia crowd, And in WWF, it didn't matter. Like if you went into a rough territory, people were trained to cheer faces and boo heels. And half the crowd was cheering loudly for them when they would hit their finisher and they pinned Jannetty. Like the place kind of went crazy. And so like I loved that as a younger. I was like, I loved heels that got like a face kind of reaction because you're like, God, those guys are awesome. But as Dave said, it's death in WWF back in 1990 because Vince is like, nope, I want clear heels and clear faces, pal. Like, and that's what he did. And that kind of was their undoing because they were actually getting positive responses even on house shows against the Rockers. Half the crowd was cheering loudly for Power and Glory because they were fucking awesome. And their move, Hercules superplexing into Roma, splashing right after he hit the superplex, was an awesome finishing move that, again, you only saw edgy moves like that in NWA or the Crockett promotion or whatever. You didn't see that in WWF. It was usually like a, you know, the good guys had cool moves, but the bad guys had good moves too. But it was, you didn't have a fucking awesome tear down the house finisher as a heel like that. Like that was an amazing move. And so like, it was kind of, they were sort of doomed from the start in WWF land. If they were in WCW, I dare I say they probably would have been fine for a couple of years. Like, you know,
they might have been able to come over to WWF as faces if they were in WCW first. Yeah, they could, not an LOD kind of pop, but something like that where they could have, you know, made their way and said, okay, these guys are good. They've proven themselves as faces, and now we're going to bring them in as faces here. But it's all where you start, you know, and Vince
well, I'm gonna keep the thunder rolling. Sorry, Woo! Craig. I'm gonna do my tag team right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nasty Boys are my guilty pleasure. I know a lot of people. These guys. Dave hates them. Their own mothers probably hate them. But the Nasty Boys, to me, they're multiple time tag team champions. They won WWF tag team titles. They won WCW, tag team titles. They defeated the Hart Foundation to win their WWF tag title. And I was entertained by them. I love the Nasty Boys. Like, I don't know what it is about it. They're my guilty pleasure. I actually really enjoyed the Nasty Boys. I liked it every time they were on. I love their gimmicks. I love the armpit thing. I don't know why. It's gross. And they were sloppy as shit, but like they would take as much too in the matches they would have with, like, you know, Cactus Jack and Phil and the mystery partner, because he would tag with, like, you know, Max Payne or Kevin Sullivan or whatever. But Nasty Boys and then Cactus Jack for like that span, like that 3 or 4 month span, like had amazing like street fight matches, like crazy.
Oh my god,
they were awesome. Like they were totally awesome. WWF, they were used as a little bit over the top cartoon characters, but when before they went to WWF, Halloween Havoc 1990 against the Steiner brothers, that match to this day is still one of my favorite tag matches. Go back and watch that. That shit's nuts. Like but they took everything. They were They were one of the few teams that fucking were clubbing Scott Steiner on the back of the neck. Like, so I'm fucking punching you on the back of the neck for real. And then of course Steiner went nuts and destroyed them as well. But they were, in any match, they took as much as they gave. They would be sloppy and it looked like they weren't very safe. However,
I would argue they took more than they gave. They would take more punishment than what they would put out. They would protect people except for high spots sometimes. But to your point, it wasn't that they didn't try to hurt people. They just got sloppy, and that was probably the most dangerous part of the Nasty Boys.
Position I have. As long as it puts some dollars in your pocket. As long as it puts dollars in my pocket, you're right. But I don't worry about it. I'm here for the cash. This one's over. Very impressive indeed, the Nasty Boys.
And I think they threw it in, but they would be like, hit me in the face with the chair. Do this to me. I don't care.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
They were like, whatever, it's fine. So
they were terrible human beings from all accounts. They looked awful. Both of them. They had terrible they had terrible outfits with fake graffiti and shitty like multicolor. But to Jess's point, like there was an edge to them every time you saw them too. Like someone's going to break an arm. You couldn't take your eyes off them. They certainly were never a popcorn, take a pee match. Someone was going to get hurt, break a table. Things were going to go wrong. You got the feeling things got a little like stiff and then uncomfortable sometimes, but then they could also work really great with opponents too on the same level. So it's like they had different kind of styles, and they were always kind of fun to watch. And that string of 93, 94 of WCW, those mixed tag matches and mystery partners, go back and watch all those.
Yeah, for sure. Like when God, why am I forgetting that tag team's name? There's another tag team, Public Enemy. When they started getting big in like the ECW land or whatever, I was like, that's Nasty Boys.
Yeah.
Like Public Enemy was Nasty Boys. Like there was total a carbon copy. It was
Often
like,
imitated, never.
yeah, it was
duplicated.
ECW's version of the Nasty Boys, and they even went to WCW and they had matches with the Nasty Boys.
And then I
after a
think
while.
the Nasty Boys taught them a lesson about being a carbon copy of them in that match
this
too.
is how
No,
to really.
no.
This is how to really slop wrestle. By the way, yeah, it's not just putting people through tables. We will fucking hit you with everything. So I like the Nasty Boys, and I know they're not. It's not a popular choice. A lot of people are like, "Fuck the Nasty Boys, they suck," and I'm like, I didn't think so at all. I didn't.
I think Craig said it best. Was like, you didn't go take a whizzer during that match because you're like, I hate these guys, but someone was going to get their head taken off.
Yeah. So Craig,
you was waiting for it.
what's your tag team, huh?
My favorite tag team, my guilty pleasure tag team is Jerry Sags and Paul Roma, and they were Nasty Glory. They were in Smoky Mountain in 2000.
Nasty Glory.
What?
That's a great name, actually.
Nasty Glory. Yeah. Come on,
no,
Craig.
I had two in my head, and I'm going to go with the less cartoony one. Quebecers. I always really enjoyed the Quebecers because the Rougeaus were always fantastic, and one half of those guys, and then what was the one-eyed Quebecer's name? Pierre.
Yeah, Pierre and
Jacques.
Jacques. Yeah,
Jacques.
Yeah.
And they were great together, and Pierre's could wrestle. I didn't like his second gimmick after the Quebecers, where it's like a pirate, but his Quebecer gimmick with Jacques, they put on some great tough matches, and it could be technical, and were very, very inventive. I really enjoyed the Quebecers.
Pirate, can I correct you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That motherfucker stole Brett's jacket. So don't sleep on that shit. No, that's a really good choice. I love the Quebecers, actually. They were really good. They were in that flux period of WWF when they didn't really know what their identity was yet, like 94. And so I think that like they were just a cool tag team to come along. They had good matches with the Steiners. And they were really good.
They can hold their own. They can hold their own with guys like that. They were deceivingly good. They can sell and they can hold their own. That's a good choice, man. That's a really good choice. Damn,
Quebecers were fun.
You're a real sack of shit. That was a good one.
Huh? Do you want to go?
They're multiple-time WWF Tag Team Champions as well, too. They were very good.
Oh,
I really enjoyed it.
Two-time?
Yeah, I think so.
Two-time.
2 or 3.
All right, I'll snake it back. We're back to singles now.
Yeah, we're going back to singles. You gonna go?
Go on, Craig. Give it a go.
This is a bit of a reach, but I've mentioned that the guys know this about me, and I kind of always talk about this guy whenever I have a chance I get. As like a trivia question, but he was a most of the time prelim, but he did have his moment as a Saturday morning guy who was built up for a little while. But I did enjoy his finisher, I did enjoy his look, and I enjoyed his music. And I'm talking about Duke the Dumpster Drosy as a guilty pleasure. And many people listening and watching this might have no clue who this guy was. He was PWI's. Was he like number 500? No.
Yes.
Number 100 for 1 year.
Just made it.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. He had a little, and maybe it was because I was really like leaned into when he was being pushed and when he first debuted. And I don't think he went very far at all. But whatever that 4 months period when he was being pushed on Saturday mornings, I was into Duke the stupid dumpster Drosy and his tilt-a-whirl suplex or whatever he had and his garbage man outfit.
Hard to do a 360 on this guy, I'll tell you that. No, we're not going to see it. It's over.
That was enough. That elbow with all that velocity and elevation. Nice victory for Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And ladies and gentlemen, if he chooses...
I know. I don't know.
I respect your choice, but man, that
it's garbage.
is the epitome of guilty pleasure, though. Like,
I think that really defines it.
When you said that, I was like, "Holy shit!" Did he just said Duke Drosy? Like, wow. But that's what this is all about. I respect.
It really
that choice.
is. I mean,
yeah. I had a Duke the Dumpster Drosy birthday party.
I think
I didn't.
You would
I
clap
really did.
the lids together. The trash can lids.
There was a lot you could play with if you were a garbage man. That was his gimmick, by the way. If you're like, is this guy? Duke the Dumpster Drosy was a literal garbage man and came out in the garbage man jacket
with the weight belt on, not the weight belt, but like the back brace on.
Yeah.
And to think if he would have been there during the TLC period in the Attitude Era, what he could have done. to the business.
Bringing your own stuff to the match, bro. Yeah.
I
Just
dare say
wrong place, wrong
WrestleMania 17
time.
would have been Duke Drosy against The Rock, probably.
Whoa.
If I had to venture a guess.
You said it, buddy. You said it. I didn't.
Woohoo! As guilty as I was, I think I could top it.
What?
Oh, please do.
This guy is just, certified just beef, 330 pounds. Just
What are we doing?
Hulk
Certified
Hogan's best
beef.
friend.
Oh no!
You all know what I'm talking about. I think
No.
and at the same time, he had some tag work, but when this guy came out, I'm like, man, how is this guy how is he not the top hill that's getting fed to people? I'm talking about the Warlord. Oh my God. This guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Brutus Beefcake for a second.
No.
Sorry.
That would have been a great choice. That's like the crowning jewel of maybe on a future episode.
The crowning jewel of turds. I mean, the Warlord.
Hulk Hogan hates the Warlord.
Yeah. I love it when we get into this tangent, but the Warlord himself, I seriously, like 320, 330, just all be pressing everybody. Really impressive in there. I don't care who you put him in there. You put him in there just to see the physical look of it. I'm like, this guy's going to tear your head off. This guy was probably one of the biggest guys that wasn't a chunk, right? The biggest built guy as far as weight's concerned. Even people like Brock Lesnar couldn't get close to that weight. Andre's heavier, but Andre's, a chunk. There's the Earthquake's a chunk. The only people that exceeded 330 were chunks. This is probably the biggest guy that hit the weight room twice a day. And you would look at him and go, man, how is he not at the top?
Twice a day.
How is he not at the top?
I'll tell you why he's not at the top, because Hulk Hogan hated the Warlord.
Do you have a story about that, Jess? I mean,
it's everywhere. It's not even just one story. It's the fucking I swear, every Royal Rumble, Hulk Hogan eliminated the Warlord. Go back and see that I'm right. And then you cannot tell me that in the grand finale match of Survival in 1990 Survivor Series, that Tito Santana giving a flying forearm to the Warlord in the grand finale match of Survival, like in the first 7 seconds, wasn't Hogan in the back going, what if we start off with Santana pinning the Warlord in fucking 6 seconds, Vince? What do you think about that, brother? Like, and that happened. And he's like, whatever you want, Terry. Fuck, if you'll stop being so grumpy. Like, yeah, I swear Hogan had something against the Warlord. Every time Hogan and Warlord touched in a Royal Rumble, Hogan would throw him out. And every time Hogan had influence, he would get pinned by some odd person. Yeah. And I'm like, why did the Warlord get pinned by that person for no reason?
Buried the Warlord.
Yeah, he buried him over time. But could you argue that Hogan might have been intimidated by the Warlord? I mean, you take one look at that guy and you're like, that could be me. Like, if you push him right and he has an inkling of mic work, he's probably taking my spot.
Fuck, brother.
Yeah. And it's funny, as talking about favorites, Warlord and Bulldog, I think, wrestled every pay-per-view for almost a year and a half.
Yeah.
Also, and had great matches
too. Yeah. For two big guys.
And they were fine for what it was. I really actually enjoyed them.
They were great matches.
Well. So,
yeah. We would watch this and go, oh, this is going to be a stinker, two big guys. And then you're like, oh, wow. They put it together, Yeah. Because usually two big guys, just after a while, they're just gassed and, lots of bear hugs. They didn't do that, So kudos to them. But that's my weird guilty pleasure. Is the
I did like his mask too. That silver half mask. Was a half mask or cover the whole face?
He had a good presentation.
He had the weird mask and he had the trident when he came down. I'm like, that was the look. And he was completely, shaven head and all that. I'm like, this guy's going places. They're gonna feed him to Hogan or somebody, and then he's gonna get pinned by T.
Oh, they fed him to Hogan, all right.
Big thick son of a bitch. Yes, he really was.
By the Warlord, really bearing down. The Warlord on Kramer. And when he applies a full Nelson on you, it's all over. It certainly is.
Yeah, that's my guy.
So you put a ton of pressure on me right now to try to end the singles here with the bang. Fuck. Tom Zink.
What?
I like the Z-Man. Stop. I like the Z-Man.
Z-Man.
Right now. And Tony Schiavone in the recent podcast makes me laugh because Tom Zink passed away, which is insane because he died insanely young. I don't remember how he passed, but he did like 2 or 3 years ago. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, before he passed, Tony Schiavone on his podcast with Conrad would always talk about he thought Tom Zink was super handsome, like on everything. So he's like, he's a good looking man. He's a good looking man, Conrad. And like, so it was the ongoing joke. And so on one episode, Conrad's like, I know he had theme music, Tony, but if you could do his theme music, what would it be? And he was like, Tom Zink, do 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 do, Tom Zink, do 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 do. And on YouTube, I want to say a fan made an actual generic tune to that, and it's brilliant.
Amazing,
it's lovely. And
more stringent workout. Cross body off the top. The leg is hooked, and this one's in the book.
Here's your opener, the Z-Man.
Kazmaier and Cactus coming up.
I always liked him. He was NWA TV champion for a little bit in WCW, and I always liked the Z-Man. I don't know why. Like I liked his look. I don't like faces all that much. The high five slapping. All right, like I'm not really a big fan of that.
Usually, the guilty pleasure is more of a heel base when we get into it.
Yeah, like I'm not a big like fan of that kind of face anyway. But for some reason, Tom Zink steers my coffee. I don't know why. Maybe I
steers my coffee.
Yeah, maybe I think he's insanely handsome, like Shivani does. I don't know. I like Tom Zink. I thought he was pretty good in the ring, and like he was a good-looking guy. And like I don't know, I always enjoyed Tom Zink. So when he was TV champion for a little bit, and the TV championship was mostly defended on like WCW Saturday Night or that kind of program, you know, I always liked it because he got to wrestle for like 25 minutes. I'm like, Tom Zink's pretty good. He's pretty good. I don't know why I think that. I'm embarrassed actually right now that I said that in front of you guys.
That's why he's a guilty pleasure. If you like Tom Zink, whose biggest gimmick.
I'm going back to picks, and I totally I get it, Jess. That's fine.
Yeah,
I totally.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel bad for him. He has you couldn't tell him and Jim Powers apart, body tanned, and then when he did have a gimmick, he went from Tom Zink to like, what about Z-Man? I mean, my last name's Zink. Like that's kind of all he kind of had, but he's still like for against all odds.
He couldn't change the name. So what do you got for me? I don't know, man. My last name's Zink. What do you think? Like,
do you guys? I mean, do you guys?
It's gonna be Z-Man, right?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
But he could wrestle. I mean,
the man can work. I just feel like. Do you remember I think it was 1988, the movie Bachelor Party? I just feel like
Tom Hanks.
He should be a stand-in in Bachelor Party, like this. You know.
He could have been.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, it's like the male stripper.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah.
That was his kind of his look, to be honest. Yeah.
Like,
and he had a podcast towards the end of his life where he was kind of controversial, right? Or am I completely crazy? Or he on Twitter he would review.
Maybe
am I completely off base?
I don't recall, but it could very well be. Yeah, I don't remember why. I should have looked up why he passed away. But he passed away really young.
I'm just kidding. That's awful.
I think it was late 40s, early 50s, probably something like that.
He died in 2017.
Fuck.
That's awful.
59 years old.
Wow, I didn't even think it was that old.
Arteriosclerosis and cardiomegaly.
Wow.
That's probably all from wrestling, by the way. That's probably from chasing his craft and being a wrestler time. And maybe some steroids.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
6'2", 230 pounds of massiveness.
We're only 35 minutes into this, so I'm gonna fuck you guys up. Pick another singles. Do it. Or do you want to do tag team? Or do you want to do another tag team? Oh yeah. I fucked your shit up right now.
Or you can do either one, right? We just make it a wild card.
Oh shit!
Wild card.
It could be okay. You want me to give you one?
So we're gonna go one more round. Dave, we'll start with you, and it could be a tag team or singles. Fucking hit me with your best shot. Fire away. That should be a song.
Yeah. Hit me with. I'm gonna give you one that.
No.
I think
you already did Power and Glory,
and I can't do it again. Even though we find a way to do it again because we re-record a video, whatever. We had it in the can. I'm not going to talk about it again. Like, what the fuck? But seriously, I'm trying to pick between the two. I'm going to give it to you. I love this tag team, and it's so stupid. God, it's so dumb. But I thought High Energy was going to be so awesome. Oh, my God. High Energy. High Energy.
I instantly regret saying, let's do a fourth pick.
Let's do another one. Yeah. Coco Beware, Owen Hart, which, by the way, You all love
Their
Owen Hart.
pants
Don't
are
even start.
ridiculous.
Their outfits were
the hammer
God.
pants were outrageous with the suspenders on them. That I'm pretty sure Minute on a Mission took over. But
Just
you know,
the height of Zubaz, the height of fucking stretchy weightlifting pants.
But this was like the ultimate high flying tag team. It was a lot of fun. And Owen Hart can make everything work. It was so much fun watching them come out, and it's just one of those things. Once again, you're like, what are we gonna do with Coco? Oh shit, I don't know. Put it with Owen, do something. I don't care. Like
Put baggy pants on him.
Yeah, put some baggy pants on him to hide the gut that Coco was getting. Like God, you know. But Coco's still hitting missile dropkicks on the top rope, bringing that goddamn parrot down, and it's incredible. I thought it was so much fun, and Coco would sing during the stupid interview segments. I laughed my ass off.
And stop.
They were entertaining.
We need one more thing: headbands. Headbands for both of you.
Yeah, that's a guilty pleasure, man.
That's a great choice.
I was like, oof. You brought another one, Jess. I had to bring it, so there you go.
Good Christ,
God,
that was intense.
Very good choice.
It was horrible. I don't want to be last this time, so I'm gonna go. Shit. Because I don't want to feel the pressure of trying to end it with a bang. Because I don't know if Tom Zink matched.
That's why he kept it going. Because Tom Zink didn't deliver.
Yeah, that's so true. We could be here for 3 hours.
It's so funny. If no one likes their last choice, you're like, okay, we're gonna go one more round.
Like, all right, we're gonna do a ninth.
We're gonna do another one. Surprise! Yeah.
Since we're only 2.5 hours in, we're gonna do one more.
Whoa! Fuck Terry Taylor. Listen, shut up.
Oh man,
shut up. I didn't necessarily care for the Red Rooster per se. But like I liked Terry Taylor before that. He was in the UWF, and I always enjoyed Terry Taylor. And then when he went to WWF, I didn't mind him per se as the Red Rooster because I thought Terry Taylor was a good wrestler in the ring. And then he went back to WCW after that and was a tailor-made man and blah blah blah. And there's a lot of podcasts of people sort of ripping on Terry Taylor, saying he's a little stooge and a little shit like that. But I always enjoyed Terry Taylor. I liked his wrestling, and I for some reason. I think he was he always wanted to be Ric Flair, I think kind of was the problem with him. And but I enjoy Terry Taylor. There, I said it.
What was the gimmick that he could have gotten that was like getting picked out right at the same time coming out of the box?
No, I didn't even think that was true. I think it's more of a joke.
It's a joke. What's the joke?
Wasn't he like a Terrence Rich guy for a while? That was almost his best gimmick.
That was in WCW after, yeah. After he left as Red Rooster, he went back to WCW and he was called the Tailor Made Man. And he was with Alexandra York and the York Foundation.
That's right.
And he was fun. He was like $1 Million Man kind of ripoff, but not really. Because he had the suits, like Teddy DiBiase had the glittery, you know what I mean, like tearaway suits. He had those.
He could go, though. He could wrestle, but man, he loved just to spike your hair up red and just do, wow.
Cock the walk, bro.
According to Bruce Pritchard, when they gave him the Red Rooster gimmick, he always like tried to copy the Ric Flair strut in the ring. And so in the back, Bruce Pritchard said like, God, when he struts, it just looks funny. He struts like a rooster. So when he came back and they didn't really have anything for him, they're like, why don't you strut like a rooster? Why don't we call you the Red Rooster?
Oh my God.
And the Red Rooster, I guess, is like an aggressive head of the roost kind of rooster. I think that's the whole thing about a Red Rooster. So he's like the alpha rooster. So instead of Terry Taylor, Bruce claims that they wanted him to be more serious with it, and they didn't want him to necessarily cluck around like he did. But they just told him make it your own. But he ended up doing that anyway.
They told him to do that.
You're totally right, because Bruce is full of absolute shit. Because they made him. You can't tell me that Vince would be like, and then we're gonna spike your hair up with red paint. That was totally Vince them fucking with Terry Taylor.
It wasn't like he did it on a house show and they pulled
Bruce
it back.
Bruce claimed
and said,
that
brother,
Terry Taylor is the one that came up with the red thing, and he went really cartoony and clucked around and all that. He was like, that was Terry Taylor.
Stop saying clucked around. It's terrible. It's a terrible pun.
He roosted around. What?
That's twice you've said clucked around. Stop
clucked
it.
Around. Is that even a term?
Oh, God.
See, it's where you could have ended it. See, you had the right one, Jess. This is the one.
This is not guilty pleasure. This is Trigger Craig.
Done and done.
So Bruce claims that Terry Taylor's the one that came up with that ridiculous cartoony gimmick. I'm like, really? In the land of the cartoons, he's the one that came up with the cartoony gimmick.
That's too far. Is the Red Rooster?
Yeah,
that's very true. That's not fair on Terry Taylor.
Yeah. So like, I think it's the other way around. I think that they were mocking him because he was a fan of Ric Flair. Terry Taylor was. He would go out there, and when he was a heel before WWF, he would strut around kind of like Flair used to do the strut, and he wanted to copy that. I think he wore tights kind of like Flair, the long knee pads like Flair. Like he kind of just really tried to be like a villain like Flair. So when he went to WWF, he was just Terry Taylor at first. And I think they couldn't figure out how they wanted him to work in. And they were like, you strut like a rooster. Because they were mocking him. And so he just said, all right. Like, and they're like, we're going to turn your face and you're going to be the Red Rooster. And we want you to like, jerk your head and do the red thing. You can't tell me that Vince wasn't like, here's some red paint, Rooster. Do it.
He had a great music that it was great music.
Yeah. I agree.
I think music for me, like it's a half of it. A lot of times I justify choices in wrestlers by their music. It really is.
So the rumor that everybody says is that Mr. Perfect got it, and then I got this.
That's what. Yeah, I don't know if Conrad brought that up. It was like a thing where Henning came in kind of at the same time, and so they were like, one of you guys is going to be Mr. Perfect, and the other one's going to be the Red Rooster. And Henning ended up getting Mr. Perfect, but I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, they said he imagined this alternative universe where they picked it out of the hat. One got Red Rooster and one got. Yeah, it's not true, but it's fun.
Talk about getting fucked over.
Terry Taylor's like, oh, Mr. Perfect's in here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a fucking.
That's right. Like with Hogan's story about how like I was either going to get the fat burning grill or I was going to get the Hulk Hogan blender or whatever, and I missed the phone call. So George Foreman got the George Foreman grill, and I got the shitty tornado blender.
And he blamed his wife for it. Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, bitch.
Yeah.
So Craig, you have to end it now, huh? Or we're going to 20 choices if it's not good. I want you to cluck around, big guy, and kind of get me another choice.
Tell me something.
I don't know if this guy. I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure because he kind of did. He got a little bit of a push, but I liked him.
Randy Savage. I love Randy Savage. I'm like,
Ric Flair.
So guilty.
And at first, for me, his music kind of did it, and it was teased. His tease was a music video at first. And it starts with everybody, here comes Two Gold Scorpio.
Oh,
That's a good one.
When Two Gold Scorpios first debuted, it was unlike anything you'd seen. Like 360 splash.
Do you know the video?
We're going to the game room.
Yeah, we're going to the game room. Shouldn't you be at school? No, man, we're going to the game room.
And it was awful like VHS like basic editing where like it was like shadow and star wipes and very, very bad acting by school kids in a playground. It was terrible.
Was awesome.
Because he gets out of a limo and teaches them how to dance.
Yes. And the reason why he was awesome was because he was incredible in the ring. Like legitimately. Like he was doing crazy shit. Like again, I can throw a match out there. I don't remember what Clash of Champion it was, but it was sometime in 1993. It was the Clash of the Champions where the Hollywood Blondes took on Anderson and Flair in a 2 out of 3 falls match. But Barry Windham defended his NWA championship against Too Cold that night, and that match was so good. And Scorpio like amazed everybody and was like doing all these crazy moves, and the place was going nuts for him. Like I'll never forget that because that was in everybody. And his matches with Benoit, that he had earlier that year, like Scorpio was awesome. And
they opened Super Brawl. I'm just kidding, they didn't open Super Brawl. I lost.
His tag team with Marcus Bagwell was good too.
Yes,
that's a really good guilty pleasure. Like Scorpio was really good. He was really fun.
And he gained weight, I think, at some point, and then he lost a little bit when he wasn't the same in WWF. But like those early days for me,
too, and did in ECW as well.
Those early days for me, it was like he could have been something really, really special. And I'm not sure what happened, but I liked him.
I think people just wanted to straddle him with a gimmick.
Yeah,
he was Flash Funk in WWF. He was like,
that's right.
Like,
you can argue that he didn't need the title, kind of bullshit, but he should have.
He could have used one
strapped to the guy.
Yeah. Did he win the tag belts with Bagwell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really last final good pick. I really enjoyed it.
I love how you bring the theme music. Everybody.
I gotta find a way to put that in here too. So the video I'm gonna play here, like I'm gonna go nuts on this pick. Like, this is great.
So good. That's a way to end it right there. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything we talk about is inspired by the WWE Network. Do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. This is Dave, Jess, and Craig with the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.
Themselves oppressing your own cognitive function eliminated. Conversations are checks we're going